Hello, good afternoon, Professor Sandy. So the purpose of the spreadsheet is to provide the interest rate and amount due that the students will have to pay off in 1 year. So what I proceeded to do was entering the loan types, which are the academic supplies, medical emergencies, personal expenses, room and board, travel expenses, and tuition reimbursement. We also had to provide the total for each, which was the principal, interest, amount due, also average, max, and minimum. So this is how I proceeded to creating my spreadsheet. First, I entered the data that we were given, which we were given the loan type, the principal amounts, the rate, the time in years, which was 1 year. So we had to calculate everything so we were able to have the interest and the amount due. So this is how I came to the conclusion of my interest. The formula for the interest was the principal rate times the 1 year, which was 40,000 times 7.50% times 1, and it gives you a total amount of 3,000. Then we did the same thing for everything else. For all the principal amounts, you would time principal times rate times 1 year, and you would get your total interest rates, which are here. And for the amount due, I proceeded by just adding principal and interest, which was the formula we had to use. And it gives you a total from here. You have principal, and then the interest is just adding. You're not multiplying here. So you got a total amount due, which we have here, 43,000. I proceeded to do the same thing for everything else. As you can see here in my formula bar, it says the row and the column I used. So I have D4 plus H4, and it gives us the total amounts. Then I also, how I had explained before, I had to show total, average, max, and minimum for principal, interest, amount, and the amount due. So for the total, what I proceeded to do was I put total, and that's the sum, the formula for the sum, and it calculates everything from D4 to D9. So it adds everything up, and it gives you the total here that I have of $216,800. Then for the average, it was same thing. I proceeded to use the formula here in average, which appears as average, and it calculates everything from D4 to D9. It does the same thing for the max and the minimum, only that it's showing you the formula for the max and the minimum. Same thing for interest. The only thing that changes is the column now, because I'm only using, instead of principal, I'm using interest. So here you can see I have interest, which is the total sum from H4 to H9, and it gives you all the totals I have here. Same thing for amount due, we did the same thing. We calculated from I4 to I9, which are all the amounts we have, and it gives you the sum of $232,633. And then it does the same thing for the average, using the average formula. Same thing for the max, of course, using max formula. And same thing for the minimum. What I found useful, or that I maybe didn't know about it, and even though I didn't really use it, I found useful that it has the autofill, that once you have a calculation here already and you drag it down, it autofills automatically to all the amounts you see here, knowing that it's the same formula you use from D4 to E4 times F4. Since you used principal times rate times the 1 year, it automatically knows the formula. So yeah, when you drag it, it autofills and it gives you the exact same amount. I didn't do it this way, but I did want to see the difference, so I did try it. And yeah, this is my spreadsheet.